Hello guys. Hello. Hello. Are we online? It seems like that. So welcome guys to another stream here on my channel. And as you can see, today is the week 2 of the AQZ Blitz season 1. And I wrote season 1, that's good. The Magician's Pace, sponsored by Man of Games. I'm super excited for today's tournament, because as it seems right now, or also as I know, this could be the most successful tournament outside of the, like, how can you say that, like the normal gameplay. So we can quickly just like going in, and then I can show it you a little bit more forward. So we still got like around 15 minutes left, 10 to 15 minutes, and we already got like super many players. So if you still ask yourself, do I play, do I not play, then you can just like go simply check it out on the link, or also just like ask your friends and everything else, because it would be super duper amazing. Just like a short break week about what happened like last week. Last week we also hit like the capacity of like 64 players like days before the tournament even started. So this was like, I was like super sorry, because I'm always want to make sure that like people can in general like play during the tournament. And so I never thought that like so many people would play in. I mean, also need to add that like most people that actually decided to join in actually were a little bit confused about the faster time, but was like totally fine to getting into it. So yeah, I mean, we can go do just like doing a small shortcut, but I need to actually just like, so I can just like put it here, and then we can take a closer look of what actually happened like last week. So last week we had actually like one winner, and it was actually Runefolk with the Raro and Mag build. It was like totally crazy, because usually in like a fast tournament you would never expect like to see an actually like Raro, but AQZ Runefolk actually managed like super good, also with the best Robin Hood right now in game. It's like actually belongs to me. Was like super easy and super well down to actually manage to get the game with that. So was super cool and super amazing to watch during that time. And the best part was like, it was just like a classic hostage list, so he was not about to win the game just like by progressing and running with the expeditions. It was actually the plan to just like time out the opponent at some point, and worked super well. Close to that we got like some 5-1 finishes, also like with deck lists where I feel like, okay, this is like, could be like reasonable that I actually win. For me it was like sure that like Sigismar will get like into that, because it's just like, if it's going on about the time and you basically can just like start to focus on one expedition instead of two, because your opponent always need to answer, then it's like, it makes like totally sense with that. But I think like in general, is it like a different meta than usually? I would not say so, because beside like those decks where you need to activate like thousands of triggers and hello Runefolk, actually you can basically play like every deck. You're just like not allowed to think. And then also, as we can see, like we saw like a Fairness and a Keisha, that only like one actually made it to the list with a 4-2 finish, but it's still like super impressive, right? I would say even those decks you can easily play. You just like, you just like need to already know what to do when it's like your turn, and you cannot think like so many things. So also beside that, we make some things more clear, or I hope I made some things more clear, because as you can see, all routes and everything is read out loud. And also just like the reminder for everyone, it's like a fast tournament, so 7 minutes and 30 seconds will be the total play time, and this would be like not changed. The only change that I would suggest is actually going down to the 5 minutes if people start to getting more into it, like to the time in general. Right now we got 109 players, what's like super amazing. We still got like 10 minutes left, so if you have like anyone that actually just like wants to play, then check it out. Just like telling him. And yes, so with that, I just like need to say that the stream started at some point. So usually there was like last week another person, but I success everyone that want to cast. If you want also to play, just like to play, because I think it's like enough if I'm just like sitting here alone and casting the tournament, because it's like super fast, and actually the players don't have like the super amount of time to also just like questioning too much. Yeah, so if you want to play, go in. We still got like around 10 minutes left. And if you have like any questions, just like write it down below in the chat. I've actually can maybe just like show off what I would actually play as if I would be in the tournament. Hold on. So my list, if I would be playing, or I would be able to play, it will be this list. Hold on, I show you. Because this is just like my... Hold on, I need to copy the link. Copy. This is just like the link that this is like the deck I would use to play. So it's also just like the classic Sigisma, a little bit more of a faster version, because you have like those, and you have 8 or more mana orbs, token spammers, and then the Grunt and the Worst. Still, I would say it's like super time very clicky copy the time to very clicky copy the list. I mean, you can copy the list, just like replace the uniques. Oh, hold on, did I? No, everything is fine. Okay, I'm gonna play the Hunger then. Yeah, you can also play the Hunger. It's like totally up to you. At this point, it's like totally up to you at this whole point, to play whatever you want. It's just like you can play basically every deck, but you need to remind that for some decks you need to take, of course, like more time to think about it. But there are also like decks that you don't need to think like too much. I hope you understand what I mean. So I also think that like as you can see, I would play the Lava. It's clearly very strong. It's like Runefolk, that you also actually the person that actually finished 6-0 with that. You're being able to manage it. If you just know what your deck is doing, then you're totally being fine to play it like even faster. Yes, so just like telling the people that the stream is online. So hold on a second. So I'm super excited for that. No problems here. Making press box at least means very little thinking, just a lot of clicking. I mean, that's true, but actually I can do the math for you. Just like let me break it down, okay? So with every press box that you're creating, you need around 2 to 3 seconds, or like Board Games Arena need 2 to 3 seconds to actually create those press box. So if you start to actually just like do an overwhelmed amount of those press bugs, then you actually start to losing time. That's why like those super infinite, I don't know, like those infinite like decks that you're playing, or where you have like to at least activate like 10 things per turn, it's just like losing your time, because BGA needs actually time to think about it. So that's why I'm always saying like more decks would be easier available during like offline tournaments, because then you don't need to wait about, or like for the tournament timer. And Papa Cell, thank you so much for your follow. Oh, hold on, we cannot see what did you actually followed, because I need to put this down and even more down. Now you can also see the chat, guys. I hope so. Yeah, now you can also see chatting with that. So yeah, that would be a good shout to just not have spent time. Yeah, that's like stuff like that. So everything that's going to be automatically is going to be super fast, but every effect that you need to activate actually just like basically is like basically stealing your time. So yes, so this is like all about. So then I just like need to... we still can like chat, but sometimes I need to write something. So... Oh, the celebration loops, yes. I mean, with that, if you're being like not too fast about it, then it's like super easy to kick out. Actually, it's also one of the rules that I actually again wrote down. So if any one of you today is also not just like watching, but also playing, confirmed, I'm playing Loki. In that case, then your opponent, also you, are super allowed to use the kick road time. It's working like that if you start to kick road someone, then so you can basically have around 20 seconds before it's like going to be the thing. But for us it's like BGA, it's like really, I don't want to say like super duper fair, but like super duper fair with timings. So we had like cases that like some rounds even still happened after like someone was like 2 to 3 minutes in the overtime, and I was like, oh no. No way. So just like up to you, you can actually road kick someone out, even it's like 1 or 2 seconds, because usually like in real life, if your counter would be like to 0, then you're basically would be also kicked out as well. So it's like not unfair sportsmanship or something else that I'm always like reading. And I can tell you, you can do it like with full confidence, because I'm also doing it in tournaments. If I'm seeing it's allowed and someone is like way over the time, then I'm simply kicking road out, even if I would win or lose. So yeah, fight me against this opinion. No, but yes, so we still got like around 4 minutes left. I just like letting everyone know that the stream started, so people will join in the stream. Yeah, also for all one, some other informations, if you're being here the first time, I can just like simply just like going down to them. So the most important things is like the 7-minute 30 timer was actually funny, because after I mentioned it in the tournament chat, then actually people start to drop out of the tournament. And also with that, it's just like the kick voting is allowed, I say that. And also for the final qualification, it's like if you're being able to win 6 matches during the whole tournament, then you're being invited to a final series, or this is like the final. So playing a finals with Nephis, you can do that. I think you can do that. I think you can do that for 730. I would say you're the first finals with 6-0 or 5-1. I believe in you, because you're like the German German player base front for us. So I'm super excited for that, to see you in action. And as I would see now, hope so. Yeah, I'm also hoping so. I mean, I'm always super down. Also was like a super cool moment. And Skull, thank you so much for your follow. And we still got like around 7 players left. So if you have anyone that wants to join in, or just like watching and don't know, have anything clue, then just like go out. Or using use your second account, guys. No, who said that? Who said that? Who said that in the stream? Use your second account, guys, so we can be full. And we're being like the biggest alternate tournament format on Board Games Arena. Who said that? I don't know which voice is talking here right now. Just kidding. Yeah. So 1 minute left. The tournament almost started. I hope you're super duper prepared with everything. And with that, I'm super excited to see what's happening right now. So I need to remind myself that I don't have too much time to just like talk. Because actually the game's going like super fast. Going super fast, and just like another reload with that. Another reload with that, and the tournament, oh, it's still like, oh no, it started, so So, wrote a message. I think you get better by playing fast instead of overthinking. Yeah, Nevis, this is like all the things that I'm talking about. And the tournament started 0 minutes ago, so still like the chance. And it's like the thing that I've talked. So basically, or I'm believing personally that 15 minutes in general is like way too much. I would be super happy if we got like around 10 to like, or like 12 to 30 minutes, or like 11, something like that. Because as you say, I think at a certain point, if you need to overthink too much, I don't know if I would then consider that you just like won because you're being like the better player. Because I think like the mix of understanding your game, being able to play it out, being able to react fast against your opponent is like stuff that I would say also make like the better player. I mean, sure, if I have like 15 plus results sometimes during the tournament, 200 players, and you don't know how many players are backseating, yeah, that's also like true. But like with that, I'm always like, this is like super duper too much times. And I remember like 2 more championships I've played on where the finals goes like around like 50 to 60 minutes, and one player played like 10 minutes and the other player played like the whole 50 minutes out, or like the rest of the time. And I was like, did he just like really won by skill, or because he actually just like got way too much time to overthink everything and to go to every solution? But it's just like up to me. But I also played like a lot of Blitz chess back in the days, so maybe I'm like not the person to talk about that in general. But talking about something, actually the tournament started and we got numbers of 123 players, super amazing. And I would say we can directly jump to table 14, because the team TCA actually start to play against each other, and we can just like go directly into it. And oh, as I can see, I need to, oh, upsy dopsy, oh, hold on, we need to just like do some magic so that everything fits in. Yes, everything fits in. So as we can see, it will be Fan against Kojo. A super nice matchup. Someone mentioned it like Fan in the chat. That's like a super way to play during that time. So just like putting the, yes, just like doing that a little bit brighter so we can see actually who's playing. So everything is set up, guys. Everything is set up. Now everything is set up, I hope. Yes. So as we can see, both players started off being able for the Fan actually to progress, for the Kojo was being able to double progress, also for the reason to getting like the first turn for the entire history. And okay, I needed to just like so as we can see, the Capella training we're going to be out against the Haven Seringa. I think like in general it's like cool because you're being able to just like put down the resources for the Kojo, but with that Haven Seringa being able to actually draw cards, so still like a super good favor for our Kojo right now, because you're being able to double progress and also being able to just like getting down, not just like almost getting down on resources, you're still being able to get something out of it. I mean, it's just like still super hard for our Kojo, because basically 2 cards that would be strongly for playing like in the additional turn that coming out right now just like got removed, but still being able to get like the same amount of resources per hand as the Fan. As we can see for the Fan, we still got down the Aloe Vera here. And the Aloe Vera actually would be super duper able to engage signs beside the Crit of Duelist that nowadays Bravo stacks are going to run. There's like actually not any other like bigger removals, I would say, that usually came out to the conclusion. So there is like a reason. And also with the chance that the Mighty Jin just like got played out, the Aloe Vera could potentially being played out, also getting anchored, and still would be able to not only block the companion side, but also making progress through the higher stats of the water region type. So super excited to see what's happening. And it's getting played out, alright. And I think also it's getting anchored. Still with 1 mana, Fan would be able to play like any other card, but I think there's like not any good reasons to do that in that time. So, as we can see, the player is start to just like going over. The coach only needs like 2 expedition to actually close out the game. For a Fan, it will be around 4. It's still like okay for the state of the game, but as we can see, Kojo was being able to just like going up to the resources for the Mighty Jin. So let's see how this was. So, as we can see, the Magical Training will coming out to play a super pass by. Kojo needs to do like a super expensive turn with the Mighty Jin, still being down to 3 mana, but there are like plenty of cards that Kojo right now could play. And also we need to see that Kojo actually just like needs to progress just like a single expedition and would be totally fine with that. For both player times, we can see that the players actually play super duper faster, and I'm considerate personally, it's just like a personal opinion that the same things that you're seeing right now could also potentially happen in a 50 minutes game, but both players would take around like 10 minutes for those turns. We see the Duel of Crit actually comes out into the play, and the Ouroboros group here is going to being discarded. Means that the Kojo still can being easily progressing. Like with 2 mana, there like be plenty of options for our fans still to progress. We still got like the Haver, we still got like the Beauty Sleep, and it's actually going into the play. And I think it's like not too bad, because the Mighty Jin actually would be able to just like go into the mana zone or just like draw an additional card for Kojo. But as we can see, Kojo playing out the Tiny Jin on the companion side, just like to make sure that like a sneaky 1-cost card from our fan not being able to just like progress during that way, and also being able to have like a super strong card in the reserve sitting for the upcoming turn, not to just like only block the hero side, but also being able to start like a progressing scheme with that. So let's see how this will be happened and how this will come in. So, and it's super amazing that most questions also getting answered by the tournament chatters himself, because with that I'm sure I'm actually being super duper sure that the people understood what I actually wrote down, and this is like a super cool feeling. But talking about a super good feeling, I think like Kojo still being like in a super good favor with all those cards that being able to just like sending out here. I feel like Fan is actually one of these heroes that can actually work well in this format. We have to be familiar with the basic decision trees. And also, hello TheKelonGuy, yeah. Hey Keelan, I totally forgot to ask you throughout the team that if you don't want to play, you're always free to go into the cast. So if you want to hop on, just like tell me. For everyone also from our team is like watching, I totally forgot that. Yeah, but Fan is like, it's like, I think for every hero, right? If you have like the base tree line of how you play actually your hero, and you can be like, sure guys, that like almost every hero have like the same playthrough at some point, or like the actions that you're taking for like the first turns and also the reactions. So Magpang Hoarder we're going to be to play, and if you have 2 or more cards in reserve, you may exhaust target card in reserve, alright. And leaving the expedition fleeting, returning a card. That's like a super cool card to play out actually. It's like super amazing to see that. We see that the Skater actually going to be played out, boosting additional time the Tiny Jin. And this is like super crazy, because even if Fan somehow would be able to manage to double block the Kojo or to progress, there is such an amount of mana that already just like going into the mana zone with like the 2 Tiny Jins and additional the Mighty Jin as well. I mean, the chances for that are not that slow, like not that low, because you're actually being super duper able to just like using the trigger and at least being able to block one expedition out of that and just like survive for an additional round, right? So right now we can see there is like the additional boost going on for the Tellurian Skater going into the Buddha. But here right now the Twinkle could be potentially be played, but I think beside that there is like not anything left. I think the only reason is actually just like to discard the Twinkle, playing the Aloe Vera down on the hero side and at least being able to block it out. And it seems like that's actually like the thing that Tortora are actually doing. So, upsala. So let's see how this will kind of continue to go in. So with that we can actually see that the Aloe is still being able. I mean, it's like super duper hard because right now Arcraft can potentially just like draw an additional card, being down to 9 mana, so also don't need to actually mana everything. And also right now, if actually Arcraft wants to do it, they could actually just like relaxing doing a pass by, or even also just like pass the turn in general, just like to see what Fan actually still needs to play out during that reason. But I think it's like up to Acraft. I mean, Todora is even like with that just like 1 minute down, so Acraft can just like even just like play super duper fast, and we see the Hunger actually coming out to play. This is super crazy, and actually just like removing everything. It's actually removing everything. This cuts all other cards in play or in reserve. I actually thought that you need to choose the effect, but maybe I'm wrong. I thought you need to choose the effect. I'm wrong, guys? I am wrong with that? Can you help me out, chat? So just like loading some previous message. So I just like need to write some message. And Prophetic, hey, hi, nice that you're also being here in the stream. Also for everyone being here in the stream, super amazing. By far, guys, I will start to adding a counter. How many people saying that the time is too fast? And it's already just like wrote down 1 time in the tournament chat. So I think it's better than last time, because there are like many players that saying like, hey, you need to increase the time, it's like too fast. And then it's like, yeah, it's like a blitz mode. And talking about blitz, Trojora actually being 2 seconds in overtime, I don't know if like a teammate would be actually saying, hey, you're I will just like kick you out, bro. In this case, but so it's actually just like, it's just like super hard. Also, Kitten, did you just like people need to make decks that fit the format, and there ain't? Yeah, I mean, this is like the, it's like the thing, but actually it's super cruel for everyone. Just like writing in the tournament chat that it's like not me, but actually also like defending the format and saying, hey, it's like all about the format. So what is like even your problem, right? Because I've actually, yeah, I sometimes I feel like super sad for that, because I'm like, hey, I mean, it's like a blitz tournament, everything. Also, you can't miss it out. That's like what I want to say. You can't miss it out. hello, hello.
Hello there.
Hello, hello, special guest TheKelonGuy.
How is it going, lovely people?
Oh, guys, I'm not alone, so I can start to play people in chat that I need to read the tournament. No, thank you
Always
so
good
much.
when our main organizer can tell people, read the rules, damn it.
I'm super cool. I've unlocked a new achievement that I've started to basically send people screenshots of the tournament rules and announcements with like the certain phrase that they ask for it. I think I did like really good by far. People understand it more and more.
Yeah.
I mean, no, but
I mean,
anyway.
that was the classic Simon thing for AWOL. Someone will ask a question and he'll just link them the pinned message from somewhere else. Yeah. There you go.
I don't have a picture for you, sadly.
That's okay. I will survive.
I would just like use Freeloader's picture and oh no, I have maybe like a nice GIF that's representing you. Hold on. I don't know if it's like
Gollum?
representing you, but it's like no. I have like hold on. I have something for you. So how you doing? It's like also super hot here in Switzerland.
Yeah, I am not enjoying the weather. I am a cold weather enjoyer, and I do not like this. But that's about it. But I'm excited. I think, you know, the commentary in the chat has been interesting about the like building decks that fit the format, because I really think that's what Rune did a really good job of last week with the Hostage Warrior, mostly because he recognized that people are not going to be familiar with their decks, and so winning the game just by them not like playing quickly enough is a viable win con.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's cool. I'm hoping there'll be a little bit more of that.
Yeah, I'm also hoping about it, and I mean, you have like so many new ways to actually just like how to build the decks, right? And also Neves did like a really good thing of just like either players start to being don't listen to the haters. Oh, I'm not listening. Thank you so much, Prof. Alex. I mean, at this case, I'm actually just like being at that point where I say, what else can I, or also what else can you do in the chat that people understood what's happening in the tournament? Because saying like, oh, it's too fast, I'm too slow to play, it's like, okay, because I mean, this is like a solid solution that's happening if you realize, oh, maybe I should like train a little bit more to being fast in the tournament. But on the other hand, to write down, oh, it's like too super slow and blah, 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 and then to start just like to give him feedback, and you're being like, bro, that's like the whole point of the tournament. Thank you so much.
It's in the tournament's name. It's AQZ Blitz. If you want to be playing a normal standard game with plenty of time to think, you can either show up at your weekly and then get a bunch of intentional draws by just taking too long, or you can play any of the normal tournament series, but AQZ Blitz is fast. That's how it goes.
Yeah. But I mean, already after I wrote in the chat, that sounds like super cool. I wrote in the chat, reminder guys, it's only 7 minutes 30 per game. Then there were like already like dropping 10 players after that. So I was like, okay, people understood it a little bit. So Keelan, we still got like time to going into another game. So if you want, we can just like join in.
Yeah, I'm happy to look at anything you want.
Oh, okay.
Direct me around. I'll go look.
Okay, maybe we can go to table 2, because there's like a player that I okay, it's finished. This would be like, we can go to table 15. Clitius against Hero Blitz. It's like Sigisma against Kojo. So hold on, I need to activate your name and start.
Really cool to see Cladius show up. He did just take down that game, but it's, you know, interesting to see. Because typically with Altered Aces, I mean, their whole team philosophy is win everything.
Yeah.
I would assume that they're just going to focus on the the much more standard format events. But yeah, cool to see Cladius show up in this one. And I mean, with a player that caliber, no surprise to me that they can play quickly.
Yeah, also like no big surprise for me. So I think it could be the chance that almost second round started up. Yeah, I mean, there's like so many players that's still being around, just like playing. But I mean, I would also just like enjoy it when I have like a tournament in the evening that goes around like 1.5 hours, right? Just like fast play. And it's also like a good thing to just like train your skill like in general to play your deck like faster down, right? Because when it comes up like to actually real tournaments, it's like super easy to call out players if they're being too slow. So I think it's like a nice way to train, like for tournaments, right? So, and talking about train, we can jump into table 60 to Nevis, because Nevis, game got abandoned, alright. So we don't have like that
we
many
are at the
tips
point where people are timing out now, so it makes sense. We should have the next round pretty shortly, and then we'll be starting off with some fresh games, but until then it's just people who are down in time at the moment and about to get kicked out, assume.
Yeah, about to get kicked out soon, and actually crazy because it's allowed, and also it's like love to see that you're being able to kick out players if they're being in an overtime, but actually not many people actually using it. And talking about Turbo Tuesday, so after the tournament, guys, there will be the A's for this evening, so if you want to join in, it's start around European time, I would say like at 12 a.m., 1 a.m., around that time, right?
That could be. I cannot recall, honestly, but of course, I'm sure that Altered Corner here in the Discord, or I'm sorry, in the Twitch chat, will be able to answer that question for us.
Yes.
We know that Kohlrabi loves converting time zones, but yeah. No, otherwise I will find out for you in just a minute.
And it's super fun to read the tournament chat. Maybe I should start to include it in the stream. Because someone actually said, really, game got aborted during last night resolutions while I was winning. This is taking longer than a standard tournament. Alright.
It's okay, I figured it out. Ace will be currently at 1 a.m. for us people in France and Western Europe. So yeah, in case any of you late night people want to play some single elimination and try to prevent LWWE from winning like every single Ace event ever, that's a good opportunity.
Yeah, it's like a super opportunity, and it's also like super fast, guys. So that's why it's like called the Turbo Tuesday, because yes, I mean, it's like KO system. How do you say it in English? It's like
it's called single elimination.
Single elimination.
It means you lose one game and you're done. That is it. You can go to bed and enjoy sleeping early, or you can just of course hang out in Cole's wonderful stream that he always does. Two very good options there.
So many options, and also I'm seeing I'm going just like to the last table, and I'm seeing just like here randomly chilling a fan festival actually being playing, and Scarf is super. Oh, it's one of the 5 Dice team members. One of them actually won the AQZ Championship Series 3-1 and finished it. It's like not sure what his time zone is though. Oh yeah, it's like, so if my opponent is on minus 10 seconds, I wait until I got -1 and win. Oh no, Nevis, so how can I explain you? So above your opponent, there would be a chance that you're being able to say expel or kick out the player by overtime. And then you can click on it, and then your opponent every time only got like 20 seconds per action or even less to take an action. Afterwards, it's getting kicked out at the end by you. So so you're being able to do that if the game finishes, or like the tournament first round is being finished and you're being like in 10 seconds overtime and your opponent being like in 13 seconds overtime, then you get automatically the win. I did no click and he was kicked. Oh yeah, so the tournament by itself will also start to kick out players. So it's like BGA will start at some point to say like the time at all will end, and also you're being able to kick out the opponent if you want to. Yes.
I think typically BGA kicks in with that when it's like a total of -5 minutes have been reached, something along those lines.
Like
so
that,
at the point when your opponent is over like -2 minutes and 30 seconds or so, you should just be able to wait, I believe. But sometimes BGA is a little bit strange with how it runs those things. It's a imperfect system, but it's the best we've got for the moment, at least.
Yes. Yeah, that's true. And people, someone also said like, what I'm going to tell my wife at 9:30 p.m. It's like super crazy. Okay, the chat is like, it's like even more troll than like the actual tournament series. It's super amazing. This game is so long. Yeah, the game is actually really long. Scarf, you can kick him. Just like as a reminder, you can if you want. You don't need to do. but you can. You don't need to do.
There we go. That's the end.
Time reached. So for round 2, Keelan, you can decide which table we're going to join in.
Oh boy, that's a lot of responsibility on my shoulders, but I think for me, let's go to table 12.
Table 12. Oh, yeah. VOD AK-47 against Slifer Zero. Okay, let's jump in. Let's see what they're actually playing. Oh, I need to reload it. Okay,
two players that I'm a bit less familiar with. It looks like we're gonna have a Kojo versus Sierra.
Oh,
so that's pretty sweet. Kojo, a hero that's been having a lot more success, I would say, in the new format so far, with the Whispers from the Maze being part of the meta, but also it was having a ton of success in the No Unique Championship. Yeah. Cool. And in general, given that it's a pretty aggressive gameplay style, I would expect that it might be a pretty good choice for this this event series as well.
Yeah, totally agreeing on that fact. It's like going super cool to see. And Luren asked, how can I vote for kicks? So Luren, I can simply show it to you. Maybe the game already started. Yeah. So right above the screen of your opponent, it should be around here somewhere. I hope you can see like my little mice going around there. There's like a chance that's saying like expel player, kick player, and then you can click on that. Needs to wait an additional 20 seconds, and then you're being able to kick out your opponent if he's being in overtime. And then your opponent have around 20 seconds. And talking about 20 seconds, Coach Chissa going through a double advance again. Super crazy.
Yeah, I mean, Kojo, one of the absolute best heroes at taking those day 1 double advances. This time with only having to play out one character in order to do so. Haven Sarengar, just really good on that forest stat, means that it's, especially with no Ordis Baba Yagas, for example, there's very few ways that are common, at least, in the metagame, I would say, that a Haven Sarengar gets outstatted early on. It's possible, of course, but yeah, that on its own is enough to secure progression. Buddha on the other side, it definitely helps. But the nice thing for the Sierra is that the Tinkerbell does just get to eat this Haven Sarengar right away, so no chance to draw an additional card for it leaving at this point.
And also with that, even if like the Zero right now can actually just like progress again. I mean the Mighty Chin, I actually realized like watching like the first game against the Fan, some cards like the Mighty Chin and also like the Haven Sarengar are like super amazing for Kojo, because with that Kojo always being able to just like being up to resources or even start to going to even, right? So we had like some places where actually like the Haven Sarengar got like fleeting during a Capella training, and then it's like, okay, the card is getting removed, but I will draw a card anyway, right? But it seems like with the Foundry mechanic right now that's going to be played down by VOD AK-47, that actually I think like it's time for the for the big robots. Do you feel the big robots will come?
Yeah, I think it's possible, but it is a lot less guaranteed at this point, I think, for Sierra players to be playing Brassbug Hive. Like, there are some pretty good other options at this point, but, of course... Okay, there we are. That's a really cool one. Masektet, yes. The really sweet out-of-faction rare from the Sierra. That's a really cool inclusion. And in this case, it will end up putting a Brassbug into each expedition that's behind or tied, which will be both of them for at least a foreseeable future. So, pretty sweet one.
Yeah. And as we can see, Kojo actually just like fully play out the entire hand for that. I mean, still being able to getting mana, so on the upcoming term don't need to necessarily just like put something down to mana, but I feel like it was like super risky, because now Sierra will being able to just like creating 2 press bugs and being super easy to just like going to the same spot as the Kojo. But I mean, with the Haven Sarengar being able to draw an additional card, also the Acolano Milk being able to just like boost out everything. But I feel like this was like a super duper amount of free service for this double progression. Do you think this could be like the break for the Kojo right now?
Yeah, it's interesting. I think the Kojo is just going to try to win one expedition 2 days in a row. And the thing that's really going for them is the fact that they are on that forest terrain, meaning that the Haven Sarengar will be particularly good there if they're indeed able to play it, which would likely just score them a progression. Of course, they don't only have to progress twice themselves, but they need to prevent 2 back-to-back double advances from the Sierra if they want to win that way. So we'll see. It could be pretty tight here, though.
I mean, what is super interesting right now is seeing that the Sierra actually started to play out the Foundry mechanic after the Tinkerbell, so don't want to actually just like leave it in the reserve. So it seems like that there's like not any press bug actually getting thrown out. I mean, we will see the hook right now, so the Haven Sarengar will be like shifted and also being able to draw an additional card. But also the Haven Sarengar right now just like getting a boost. And I mean, okay, it's like a stats line of 6 in Rotter, but I feel like Kocho could like simply pass it, right? Because there's only just like 1 expedition left for the Kocho to just like progressing forward. And what we can see right now, just like in the timers, this game is like super duper fast. And I will call it, you can judge me for that, guys, but please don't judge me. I would say the state that we see right now in the game would be also the same state if it would be in a 50 minutes game, but the only difference is that in the 50 minutes game, both players already reduced 10 minutes. Change my mind? Change my mind, Keelan? Change my mind?
I don't know if your mind can be changed, paandyandy, and for that reason, I don't think it's worth my attempt to do so.
Yeah, okay.
But in this case, I think things went so well for Kojo the last day, especially because they mana'd at the start of the day as well. Being multiple mana ahead at this stage of the game is huge, and especially against an Axiom hero not known for playing much removal, this physical training is going to be a great way to put a ton of pressure.
Yeah, it's totally agreeing on that. And as we can see right now, the Tinkerbell will be played again, so the physical training will get removed. I mean, it would be also just like a super strong card to play out again, right? So good that the Sierra can do that. I mean, we're still seeing like the hooked, but the only potential character that we see right now to getting to the B target will be the Buddha, but with this strong setup and stats, it's actually also fitting super well on the hero side. Kocho still being down on 6 mana, so I'm being like now, okay, so Kocho knowing the hooked will be there on the reserve, so there is a potential chance. How will Kocho react now, just like with how to place like the characters onto the field? And as we can see, we start to split and we see the Nilum River Tree will be played out. That's cool.
Yeah, that's a really sweet inclusion, and it works so well for Sierra's hero ability that it makes a lot of sense, I think. Sometimes you're exhausting your own cards to enable it, but in general, just playing it out, getting 2 bodies into play, it's good setup piece in general to have. Gives you a little bit of additional advantage on other days, but it's a good one.
Yes, but Tomorrow Ghost will be enough in that case, so congrats on Sliver for taking out the game. Super amazing game, super fast game. Guys, you're playing too fast. I need to go down to 5 minutes if you're playing too fast.
No, this is perfect. Gives us time to jump in and see a couple other tables, and not feel like we're jumping in at the very end of things. That is nice as well. Maybe table 10?
Table 10. Oh yeah, we can. There are like so many new names I'm not familiar with. I mean, Carl Xlag, I actually know the name, but B-Rod Ziran, also another player from Belgium. I see like more players from Belgium actually playing.
Yeah, I'm very much guessing we saw both the Sierra player in the previous game was also from Team BWAT. I assume it's a Belgian team.
Yeah.
So yeah, that is very cool to see in general. Belgium, I think, has been, I mean, amongst countries that do have France on the as one of the official languages. I don't know if they've been one of the dominant ones so far, but especially with some competitive teams popping up, I would not be surprised to see a lot more of them.
Yes. Just like super to that, and we can see the fan will play out the Alvera, will also start anchoring that. I'm in the t-shirt right now with the Spittle Mooner Bastion being placed down as the landmark. Get like a super duper free hand on almost like most cases, not to getting actually touched by the fan, because fan could like potentially have super many also just like spells to play out against the TJ. Would be able like the Twinkle Twinkle, or as with the Clove Cocoon, as we can see, maybe the Subduant, but we can see the Haverer actually being played out, and as a reaction the Sneezer Shroom, only 3 mana left, and with that the Alvera will coming out to play. But I would say could he?
Yeah, this is a good one for Tasia. It's Tasia doing Tasia things. Everything is gonna go their way. I don't know how to say it other than that.
Yeah.
Really strong cards overall that have been played out, and I think the nail in the coffin in a lot of these cases is the Spindle Muna Bastion.
This is actually crazy. What's happening here?
Yeah.
Too
Just
many
mousing through, it really looks like from the discard of the Fen, they were unable to find some of the spells that they would like to be looping, like magical training. And if you don't find it, sometimes the deck just falls apart. Especially when you have, you know, of course, Tasia doing Tasia things, anchoring everything every day.
Yeah,
it's still strong.
Yeah, agreeing on that. So B-Rod, Cronkers to that. Do we want to start the storyline that B-Rod was a team that's focusing on the Super Turbo Tuesday?
The B stands for Blitz, not for Belgium.
Yeah, it's like the Blitz win at time 0. Yeah, that's the name. That's the name, right?
Makes perfect sense to me.
Yeah, it's also making sense to me. They also wrote me no, I'm just kidding, guys. But talking about
no, you're right. They have 5 players registered today.
Oh. Is this the first Blitz team? The super duper side story to that would be that they're like all like have like family, like children, right? So it's the only way that they can play a tournament because the children going to bed, and they can quickly play like 1 hour and then yeah, guys, we will create a storyline with that. Don't worry, we have still enough time for that. Not for the playing, but actually for the stories like that. To continue watching a story, I'm just like going through the tables. And do we want to actually curse Kohlrabi now, or a little bit later during the tournament? I'm not sure.
Yo, I'm flexible. It's whatever you think, Paandy. This is your show.
Okay. Nah, later. Okay, so basically Carl actually invited us so we can go to table 48. So let's see what Cole is actually playing, and it's an Evanka. Oh, with my most favorite card, the Wayfarer. That is like super crazy. And as we can see above that, it's like an Afanas, making sure to watch that the game actually been working. And as you can see, the
Did you see that?
Yeah.
The Wayfarer just drew a card.
Yeah. Best card. 5 stars rating. 5 stars rating, guys.
Yeah, I mean, if your die rolls work out that way, this card does seem pretty okay in those situations. That being said, though, at the moment, we know there's nothing else that Kohlrabi can do. There is a Moth that is outstanding on the companion side. Afanas only needing that 1 expedition in order to win. Yeah, cool card, that Wayfarer. It draws a little bit of cards, but oof, not the right times, I guess.
Yes, and Altered Coda, I said now later because I knew the game was over. Oh, this is something new. Good content over my own. I mean, it's like always, but I want to make like sure that we don't getting into that you're always getting stream curse, because you already won like a game during a cast. So I want to prove that it's like not true, Cole. You know, that's why we're joining into the games. Even if you don't want to, there exists a pair where Wayfarer always draws a card and truly is the best card. Yeah, competitive noob could be. Maybe there's like an alternate universe where also that's
the thing. Yeah, exactly. That's the thing about these multiple universe theories, right? I like that. That's true.
Easy, 4 cards, so 2 cards per round. I mean, could be worse. Could be. And so, do you want to go to table 7 so we can see another B-Rod member actually joined in? There are like so many of them. What's happened?
No, it's always awesome to see. Like, I'm sure that these players have been playing and have been doing so on BGA before, but it could be that they've just recently formed their team as well. And for that reason, we both haven't seen them, and maybe for that reason, they've just now put the tag on their names, and suddenly, suddenly we're familiar with them. That's cool.
Yeah, that's like super amazing to...
Looks like a Belgium battle that you just brought us to.
Yes. And already a Belgian player being over time, so I just like waiting for the moment that we actually see someone is kicking his opponent in action, but it doesn't feel like that. And this is like a Fali paper Harrods. It's just like I can roll boost and roll a diamond plus 4. The next card to play this afternoon costs 1 less. And the Rengar actually is super down with the with the play, just like playing the Haven Rengar again. And it will be enough. And so only just like one expedition left to actually close out the game.
Yeah, pretty good. Card that I was noticing is hanging out in Nevenka's discard is the Bliss Guitarist, that being a new one from the new set. That typically, I think plays really well with a lot of the things that that Nevenka is typically looking to do. With that, at dusk, if I'm boosted, reveal the top card of your deck. If it's a character with base statistic 0, draw it, otherwise discard it. Because I think, like, if you build your deck this way, nearly 2/3 of your deck should be hits for it, which is pretty good, actually, at that point. And it'll so often just get a boost innately from the Nevenka hero ability.
Yeah, totally. It's totally true. And as we can see, the Magical Training will be going to be a pass by. We see the paper hero will be played out again. But with that, also seeing the Math to Fling. And oh, the next card costs 1 less. That's good. But I also feel like that, like, the Afana still got like a super good chance to, yeah, just like considering to that, because the Mage Hands are always getting passive boost. Right now, the Mana Moth is getting like an additional boost. But we already can see the Martingale is going up. And I mean, the best case is you cannot like roll a 1. The worst case is you can also just like overroll anchoring and then it's like not rolling, and I'm getting a syntax error because of the Tanuki. What is so special about that card?
Yeah, I also got a syntax error, which was funny, but what it does do is removes that off you go. Beauty Sleep coming down is so critical. Otherwise, it was likely going to be a situation where Afanas was potentially just dead to a removal spell. I don't think they have another character in hand. So yeah, it looks like everything on that hero side is going to end up asleep this day. And I think that definitely favors Afanas here.
Yes. And just like another one, the only bad thing about the tournament is the time it's all the Afanas. I think maybe all the Afanas players got third, because I said like in my video they didn't got like the chance of actually going into the top 8. So right now we got enough Afanas players, they want to prove us wrong.
Look, if Tempête de la Neige gets enough Afanas mirrors again and again, I assure you he will play faster. So, you know, you can still make it just like that. Alright, so it's going to come down to actually a pretty difficult day for the Afanas, I believe. Nevenka is a little bit lower on mana, but they do have access to that removal spell right off the bat that is currently that Twinkle Twinkle sitting in their reserve. Also potential card draw available for them in this magical training, but I think they would really rather somehow have a way to pick it up and then play it again from hand instead of spending 3 mana on it.
So,
oh my goodness, that Studious Disciple unique is insane, but unfortunately no spells to pick up here.
Just like a double pickup. That's like super crazy. It's like super cool. As you can see right now, the Nevenka would be able to actually double boost with the Daedalus, and I would say, okay, oh, that seems like super hard right now. For the
yeah, Nevenka's got this. I'm sort of impressed to see the late game setup for the Nevenka look actually this good into Afanas here. But it turns out this Twinkle Twinkle should be exactly what they need. Able to play this Daedalus out now as well from reserve after having scouted it previously. They don't even need to use the Nevenka hero ability.
Yes, and people are actually figuring out that you can only kick if you're unactive, so actually, even if you kick out a player, he could still play and win the tournament if he wants to. But people, you need to reconsider if also people being in the stream as well in the chat, your opponent still got like 20 seconds to do that. So still like 20 seconds.
You know, notably, the Nevenka did actually play out the day in a way where they did have to use their hero ability and hit. However, their username does say that they are a gambler, so I guess it makes sense that they were choosing to do it that way. Make sure they had to roll the right die roll in order to guarantee themselves the win there, which is pretty funny to see. You there, Paandy? You okay?
I'm totally okay. I need to explain. I need to explain a little bit more. I think Sometimes I think it's like super easy just like to read something that's like going above a scream, but actually it's not, because when I was testing it in another tournament, you have like 20 seconds to kick out, and after the 20 seconds you can kick out the player. He still could play if he wants to, but the game is already just like finished at that point. But you have still 20 seconds, even if you kick him. You cannot directly kick him. So this I need to explain in the chat. So
alright, we are now into round 3. Pretty cool.
Yeah.
Interesting to see now. Gamma Knight has been on table 1 2 rounds in a row, so they're doing well.
So
But maybe we should go into something very different, or we could go into table 3.
We can go into table 3. This Liiike against Liiike, yeah. Super crazy. Super cool by far. So okay, wait. You need to take over. I need to explain it shortly. I need to explain it.
No worries. Just you'll have to refresh every so often until the match starts coming up. Liiike, though, specifically, had a couple really good recent results. I believe last week the AQZ Championship, so one of the first events with the new set being legal, they had a perfect undefeated finish with Kojo, so I'm very much assuming that they're going to be playing Kojo again today, given that virtually all of their competitive finishes are on that hero. And I would assume in general, if you're looking to build a Kojo deck yourself, their list is likely going to be pretty close to the most optimized one for the current metagame. So jumping on in, we did have a Haven Sarengar opener from the Kojo, did take them a single advance, and TaeJa did clap back with an Aloe Vera of their own to go over on that companion side, despite the Kojo's Buddha token. And now that Aloe Vera just getting anchored. And the question here is there some form of removal to deal with the Aloe now? I sort of doubt it. We do just see Haven Sarengar getting played out onto that companion side. And again, we just have a 1-for-1 trade. Nice little advantage for this Neko on TaeJa, who now has an anchored Aloe Vera in play. And yeah, this Neko as well is also a tournament veteran. They have been playing a lot in general. I mean, we've seen them on cast. We've spectated a lot of their games over the last few months, but they're also a specialist themselves. They play TaeJa and TaeJa only. So yeah, definitely, it's 2 one-tricks here on their respective heroes. But yeah, now we do go into a day where Kojo does have access to that Buddha token, plays out a Tooth Fairy, interesting card for the Sabotage, spending that rare slot on the reduced cost of a card like Tooth Fairy. Pretty sweet, does a good job of dealing with that potential resupply of the Aloe Vera, which was a Muna Druid that did threaten to anchor it again. However, they just had a unique that also gives anchored, but it does get taken out by this Duel of Grit, so there's no risk of having that mass anchoring unique stick around indefinitely, at least. And it's yet another 1-for-1 day. This time, though, Tooth Fairy is going to be a lot worse from the back half of the card. No Sabotage on it this time. So I do think there will be an opportunity here for TaeJa to get a lot of value here, especially if they're able to find another way to anchor this Aloe Vera again, potentially. It is a Cuddly Corgi. That is a new one from the new set. 2 mana, 2/1/1, so with that TaeJa hero ability, 3/2/2. And when a character you control gains anchored, it gains a boost. I have a feeling that we're going to see this Aloe Vera get anchored yet again. Oh, wow. Yes, in a pretty spectacular way as well. It being a Muna Druid that both, when played from hand, gives a character a boost, and has that classic mass anchoring effect. When a character you control gains 1 or more boosts, up to 1 target character with hand cost 3 or less other than it gains anchored. Yeah, that is absurd. Cuddly Corgi triggering that as well. Everything is anchored here other than just that 1 Muna Druid unique. But that's a massive advantage for this Neko here. Kind of insane unique setup.
Yeah,
Paandy, these uniques are absurd. I think the one real hope here for the Kojo is that they might be on a list trying to play Hunger. And I think they're going to need Hunger in order to be able to deal with this mass anchoring, gameplay strategy.
Yes, agreeing on that. Yeah, so I wrote it down. It seems like super interesting, the game, and you're right, Cole, maybe the 5 minutes sprint working but the player's code trick, I actually wrote it down. So for all those Twitch viewers again, how it's working out, if you're thinking about it. So your opponent still got like 20 seconds every time to actually make a turn. But this timer will go down if you're using it like too many times. And actually I'm considering that maybe the 5 minutes would be good. Could it be? Could it be? Because yeah, it's like games seems to be going about 20 to 23 minutes. Yeah, it's still like super crazy that like a 50-minute per round is still like BGA is handling it like super weird, right? So maybe we should need to go down. Maybe we'll try it out next week. We just try it out. For you poker players in the audience there, it's like when you're playing online tournaments, you'll see a lot of them are turbo, and then you have the hyper turbo, of course, to go even faster. Maybe that's what you're talking about. We need the ultra blitz, the hyper turbo, the hyper turbo, ultra blitz.
But we will see. Regardless, setup is still really good for the Tasia.
Yes.
That mass anchoring unique, just so absurd and synergizes perfectly with that new card, the Cuddly Corgi. Really sweet here, and just the additional value they're going to be getting off of this aloe vera is just continues to be insane. Again, Kojo's not quite out of it. They did do a good job finding a progression the last day, so they've still been trading 1 for 1. And this Fire Rabbit unique also seems particularly sweet. Gives a lot of boosts here across the entire team. So potentially they're able to take another progression here, but still, again, I'm going to call it. They're going to need a hunger in order to come back into this game. I don't know if they play it.
That's like a super question, but we saw already like hunger was being played, but then put it to sleep, so but rough of all, actually I feel like I misunderstood a little bit the wording about the hunger, because I was like in play on reserve that you need to choose the effect, but it's actually being for both, right? So you can do
it eats everything.
Okay.
It's not the you know, little bit hungry, it's the hunger, you know. It eats everything.
The hunger. All right. But maybe I'm like too deep into the magic wording. Where like every letter, guys, could be different. If just
there
like
it is. There's the hunger.
There's the hunger. Okay, so let's go. Like super duper hungry. So let's see how much he's get. And oh yeah, it's like super much.
I mean, it's a very big hunger. Absolutely. This was a, you know, I could eat a horse sort of hunger. But what I would say, it's not gigantic, and that's sort of a critical dynamic on this day. It didn't have fleeting. There's no Arcolano milk, for example, to enable that right off the bat. So it does find a progression. It does get rid of all that mass anchoring, and, you know, anchored threats like the aloe vera. But for the time being, Tasia's still in the driver's seat.
Yes, agreeing on that. So, as we can see right now, actually, it's like super down for the Tasia right now. Do you think there's like still a chance for a comeback for the Kojo? Maybe like a second hunger, but it's like the southern player, so it seems like a little bit hard to activating that.
I think it's possible. I think the fact that, you know, I'm very much assuming this isn't just a one of in their deck. I have a feeling there's 2 or maybe even 3. Meaning that could come down again in that form, or could just get played as a gigantic threat from reserve. And depending on what Tasia plays out, it might not be enough just on raw stats. Sometimes some of the threats from the Tasia deck are really focused on all of those mass anchoring abilities, and on their own aren't quite as strong in terms of stats. Of course, you know, that Tasia hero ability often does a pretty good job of shoring up stat lines, but still, I think, you know, if there is removal here, for example, they might be able to survive.
And Rifted receiving the Ogre being out to play. There's like still 1 mana left. Is there something?
Needs to be Isenboshi. It needs to be Isenboshi.
Yeah,
oh, never mind. Even that wouldn't be enough. Yep.
Wouldn't be enough yet. Oh, so
close one.
Nico.
I think just the engine came online barely too quickly for the Kojo to be able to handle.
Yes.
They did have a pretty coherent late game strategy that would play really well into the matchup. But just unfortunately for them, the fact that there was a second unique coming out so quickly from the Tasia, brutal.
Yeah, it's like super duper brutal, but it seems so good, and it was super nice game to watch. So we still got like so many tables left, so do you already spotted like IDT members from us playing today? Did you spot like IDT members?
I've, you know, I can't technically say yes, but yes.
Why you can't say going on mute? No, Cole, come back. Cole, don't do that. We wanted to watch your game now. No, just kidding.
Maybe we want to jump into table 2 though.
Yeah, we can go to table 2. That's like super cool. Oh yeah, Meltdown, the curator of the NUC series that afterwards for season 2, no teammates in the tournament, just Cole. Why not, guys? Did I miss out something today? Nah, just kidding, definitely no teammates. So, okay, who is who? Who is who? You know, who is who?
You know what's the line? If I speak, I'm in big trouble. So yeah,
is Rune playing Raru with like a hidden account?
Nope. As you said that, there is no Rune playing Waru on a hidden account. That is not happening.
Okay, it's not happening.
But what is happening for us is a nice little Spindle Harvester unique for Aphanis. We've never seen those before, Paandy. No, of course, jokes aside.
I never saw that before.
They're really sweet. This is a pretty strong one, I would say.
Yes, yes.
But it does have that 2 cost, meaning, you know, it's not one of those like perfect spindles that do exist out there, but some pretty sweet stuff from Meltdown as well. The Tooth Fairy unique on that in the currently sitting in the reserve for the Kojo has a triple arrow effect, and it's tons of value.
Yeah, totally agreeing on that. And I think like even down back to the days where like having hand was a thing, this was like a super crazy card, right? But it's also just like got the 1 boost thing. I was thinking like first of all it was like the 2 boost conditions that we saw recently on most Spindle Harvester during like the at dusk, but only 1 boost? That's like, it's like beyond crazy.
Okay. It's cool,
okay.
But again, look at this Tooth Fairy again. This Tooth Fairy is so perfect for the Bravo strategy.
This
especially
is like
when you're playing a Haven Bravos Bastion deck, where you often want to be able to put things into reserve.
Yeah.
This thing threatens to resupply, put 2 cards from your hand into reserve, which can be a significant upside, and double sabotage twice.
Ooh. Yeah, that's like super crazy. It's like super amazing card.
And we see yet another Kojo is settling on the Hunger as part of their game plan.
And as we can also see, Meltdown is actually being on the mobile phone playing. So guys, it's possible. It's possible to play on that.
You say it's possible, but he is out of time now. So maybe it isn't possible.
Okay, maybe not that.
But trying his best as always. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that Meltdown is still going to be helping run the NUC in the future. I know the primary hosting of it is being passed over to Runefolk and us here at Team AQZ, but I think Meltdown's still involved. Am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong. So Meltdown is still involved. Also, the store from Meltdown. I'll say it again.
Lufolk. Yeah. Yep.
Lufolk.
That is still the sponsor of the event.
Yes. And also Meltdown still taking care of the players, and so Rune is doing like, I would say like, or if I'm correct, like the main things about the NUC, and Meltdown is just like helping out also with the adventure pass, because guys, the most hardest work is actually validating the adventure pass, because if you have like 80 players or 100 players actually signed up, then you need to go to each player singly, just like click by click. I'm happy I don't need to do it, and that actually the wife of Lynch Björn, aka Björn, the sponsor from the starter from Men of Games, our sponsor, is doing that, because if I also need to do that afterwards, this would be like it would be like hard. But talking about hard things, I would say right now, with the Duel of Crit, it's like super amazing, because right now it's not just like an off you go that could be played out and the game would be over at some point. And also the Spindle Harvester, which is like going to discard it in that way. We think the off you go would be also played out as well. I would say the Buddha get it. No, actually the Tooth Fairy. Oh yeah, I totally forgot the super boost.
Yeah, it's so good. But just in general, I think that Duel of Grit that we saw is yet another sweet inclusion from the new set, especially at Rare there. It just plays so well into anchored characters, especially characters that anchor from the front half, like that Spindle Harvester unique. You know, it does give Meltdown a potential chance to come back, because there's just a little bit less snowball in play for the Athanas, but they definitely have their work cut out for them. They have all 3 terrains to work with, does the Athanas at least, meaning that no matter what characters they have, they're likely going to be able to get played on perfect expeditions. And yeah, even if Meltdown was to survive this day, they need 3 advances to win, not just a double.
Yeah. This is totally true up to that point, but as we can see, the Baba Yaga will be played out, so it's like an additional draw again. I mean, all the Sigma players right now will cry. Actually, every Orders player will cry to see that at this point. We see the Magical Training, hey.
Magical Training is the perfect card to take this one. It will put enough stats onto likely both sides even for this to work. Vanishing Gate does the trick as well. But, you know, I love Meltdown, but I have to say as well, I'm happy the player with more time left on their clock wins. They understand the format. Heck yeah.
Agreeing on to that. And it seems like if we would go down to like the 5 minutes, still every player would go around 7 minutes up, right? So...
True.
True. So, board game, please fix it at some point. But hey, tournament maximum time reach actually. Okay, that's super crazy because we should be into round 4 direct right now. No.
Almost.
No, almost. Like around 2 tables left being to play. So, if you want, we can go to table 15. There's another B-Rod member against Froden. Table 15 and it's Sigma against Athanas again. Okay. Man, I don't know how to click. You know, Lucian, oh no, Lucian, you know what? If you don't know, then you don't need to do it. It's like just like stand in the rules that you're being able, or it's like to see that you kick, but you don't need to kick him. So you don't do anything wrong. But it's like a little bit hard to explain it more because I don't know how to explain it like more. So again, you have something above your opponent here, and if your opponent is being like in this red timer that you can see here, there's like a red thing to kick out player because he mentioned I didn't know to kick because I didn't know how to kick.
Yeah, so it's not an automatic kick.
It
starts a timer, essentially. And if your opponent doesn't play by the end of that timer, they're then kicked from the game. Otherwise, though, if both players are out of time, what will happen is the player with, the system automatically ends the game, essentially. It'll give the loss to the person with the least time. So, in that sense, it is fair. But yeah, the kick system, not perfect. I think here, you know, us in the organizers area, we would love it if there was just you get to 0 seconds, you're instantly kicked from it and you lose. But
it's not
no,
it
doesn't unfortunately work quite that simply.
Yes. So this is like that. So you being able to kick, and he doesn't will punish. No, it's like no punishment at all. Because it's like up to that. So I can tell you clearly like that around 99% that's happening during a tournament is like really to totally being close to closest about how Board Games Arena is handling it, because beside it I can chat with you and chatting with you and creating the tournament, I don't have like any tools to even like kick out players if they're playing against the risk. So if there would be a player here that always change the deck each round, like in Chatterwell this player could continue play forever during the tournament because you cannot kick them out. But talking about kick them out, maybe we can just like jump into round 4 and see if this will happening now with some players, because everyone is very into it. Do you want to go to the other tables right now, or just like watch what you want to see, like any table?
I was thinking potentially we go down a little bit and look at something, maybe table. Ooh. No, one second. We saw one of these players. No, let's do it. Let's go table 28. Satan is a baby boomer against Motucci 974.
Which table? Baby Boomer, Baby Boomer, Baby Boomer?
Satan is a baby boomer, correct. That is the name of the player. Hold on, I will give you the table again. Okay, Bert, you got it, nice. 28.
Yeah, 28, yes.
The funniest thing here is that I'm pretty sure the the last time that I was on this player's table, their country flag was different than it currently is.
Oh, okay.
But both players representing some pretty different places. But regardless, we have Aurak against Akesha. And from what I'm seeing so far from Akesha, this looks like, my guess is it's a stall build. Sakurabu in general, I think I'm only familiar with it out of more like hostage style strategies, and I guess seeing the early Conjuring Seal as well, I think further leads me to believe that that will be the play for them. Meanwhile, Aurak is off to a blisteringly fast start on the Tumult, which is great for them. They're still ahead in time slightly, which is also great for them, especially if they're going into a control deck. And yeah, they've almost enabled their hero ability as well.
Yeah, green. I mean, also just like Aurak would be super amazing, but I've talked a little bit earlier about that like every action that you need to take also being an action that actually going to use a lot of time. I mean, 3 seconds are like 3 seconds, right? But it's still like crazy how fast an Akesha right now can actually just like using Akesha, I'm sorry, just like an hour can activate the ability. So let's see what will come out. I mean, the biggest fear will be like a full setup of Fighter Kinas, but I'm also feeling like that Akesha is actually a really awesome deck, because you can simply just like using the after you and save some couple of seconds with that. So
no, I'm gonna tell you that the absolute dream for Aurak here, if we could just pick any card that existed in Altered and say that will be what they will hit off of their flip, it'll be a unique Loki with an arrow ability that lets them just discard the entire hand of the Akesha, essentially. That's gonna be the one. However, it is pretty cool seeing these Bliss Basists come out. That's 3 of them now that have entered play, and looking pretty alright, but the Akesha did manage to stall both sides, despite there being so many characters played out by Aurak, which I think is probably a little bit of a disappointing turn for them, given how aggressive it was looking at the beginning, at least. So, good stall there from the Akesha. It's very much in line with what they're looking to do in the game. A sweet new card from them with the Izmir Mothbreeder as well, and that one's finding its way into various Izmir decks.
Yes, you can
all right,
continue.
The flip from Aurak was a Martingale, so not quite what you want to hit, but I think the one big upside is it's pretty darn likely that Aurak will be able to flip again the next day, given that we do already see multiple characters with the 0 stat that are currently sitting in reserve, and the Akesha did use their hero ability right away, so good chance that they will be able to play out 1 or more of those without getting sabotaged. And an Icebound Tundra now for the Aurak is a pretty good card to have here. It will set up into these later turns a little bit better than some other potential plays, especially if the Akesha has enough things to continue to stall. But there is a sabotage effect, pretty huge here. It's a Tooth Fairy, goes after the Esmeralda, and now we need to know, is there a card with 0 stats in Aurak's hand? And no, it is a Magic Slay. Ooh, that is tough. It doesn't seem that Aurak definitely will not be able to flip any cards the next day. That is sad.
Yes. So we can see, oh yeah, that's like super crazy to see it in that way. But the Izmir Mothbreeder, alright. I don't have like a feeling about the card, but I feel like it's super cool. When you pay Ron, getting a Mana Moth, then you can play it out again and getting similar a Mana Moth that you cannot just like discard with most of the spells.
No, that's a really good point. It is actually a lot better in a lot of cases than have 2 mana 2/2/2.
Yeah.
It's pretty good in general. Like that's sort of a bar that you want to hit for a lot of characters from different decks. Like if you're thinking Kojo, there's a lot of cards that you want that sort of stat line on your characters, but the fact that it can't get hit by many removal spells at this point is actually super sweet. Pretty efficient overall. That scout ability is pretty important, I would say, as well, meaning that on critical turns it will be just 2 mana 2/2/2, and otherwise playing the front half of it and just being able to stall multiple things at one time, splitting the stats across multiple characters. It's a really good way to play. Isatalk.
Yeah,
Oh,
Isatalk.
there it
Ooh.
is.
Wait. I know this Isatalk. Hold on a
no, you
second.
No. You definitely don't. You must be mistaken. Cool Sandman
No,
coming out though.
no. Rune?
This is a
You said something
Sandman
to me. You said something to me that you
with
don't
a
play hostage.
arrow sleep.
I cannot believe it. I cannot believe it. You make a promise. You don't do that, and then you're doing it.
No. That's clearly not Runefolk. That is Satan is a baby boomer.
That's all okay. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. It's not Runefolk.
But regardless, the Isatalk is sort of perfect here because it does block that double progression that the Magic Slay does threaten, which is really, really nice. But that Sandman overall is pretty okay. It did help find a progression that last day, which is pretty important. Snowball Commando now does get flipped off of that Aurak ability. Notably, does not get to trigger that from hand ability because it doesn't work that way with the Aurak's hero ability. It's a little bit awkward the way that it actually appears visually on BGA, because what BGA does is it makes it look like you've actually drawn the card and then you get to play it for free, which would, if it had entered your hand, let that from your hand ability take place. But the actual text of how Aurak's hero ability works means that you get to reveal the top card of your deck and then either play it for free from the top of your deck or put it into your hand. So for that reason, it doesn't get to trigger here, which is actually sort of a big deal. Studious Disciple being a really nice little target to potentially exhaust down in the reserve of the Akesha. But yeah, we'll see. They're still doing a pretty good job. The Aurak is contesting this day. Snowball Commando is on a pretty good expedition for their own progression, and they're currently outstatting the Isatalk as it stands, but still lots of mana for Akesha to work with and tons of cards.
Yeah. So as you can see right now, oh, that's super good. That the True Fire will be played out and the Sandman actually just getting to be discarded out of that. As we can see, okay, the Eat Me Energy Bars being able to play it out on the... Actually, does it trigger the Magic Slate? Even if the... Is it could it working still? Or it's
I'm sorry, is what working?
So that the Magic Slate, if the Martingale is being gigantic, right? Could the Magic Slate still trigger? No, actually not, right? Because it's still the expedition. Yeah, it's still the expedition condition.
Magic Slay only cares about its expedition. And the thing is, the gigantic only applies to the character, not to the Magic Slay itself. So its expedition is just that hero side, which does not progress thanks to the Isatalk. And now, notably, the stage here is threatening to be actually super threatening. The ability to remove fleeting from relevant spells, I think there's a lot of sweet tools that a more hostage-style deck will be able to make use of there, without having to play that super expensive Katagear Izmir Bastion. But we do have another unique coming out now for the Aurak. You said, ooh, tell me about it.
Yeah, it's actually really cool because played out from hand, it's resupply, and then you may discard a card from a reserve if you do Sabotage. Actually a cool card.
Yeah, it's self-enabling in that way. It does sabotage away this Isatalk now, which, it's sad because you don't really want to have to do that, get rid of irrelevant cards in order to do that, but essentially what that says is the Aurak cannot beat that Isatalk, which, is good reason to remove it.
Yes, and as you can see, as conclusion to that, the Martingale will be played out. I mean, it's just any... Okay, it's just the Beauty Sleep essence starting off. Okay. So I have the feeling there's another Isatalk right now on the hand. Just to block an Expeditioner.
Could be, but just in general, Beauty Sleep I think is the best card against Eat Me Energy Bars, especially because it cares about you having only one character in that expedition, and it turns out a sleeping character in that expedition, that still counts as a character. So anything else that gets played onto the hero side just will not have gigantic from the Eat Me Energy Bars. Of course, it's still threatening the hero side at the moment because a single progression on it will advance twice thanks to the Magic Slice still. But, ooh, potentially... Oh, yeah, no, there's still not enough stats there either.
Yes.
Again, Izmir Mothbreeder is still great at stalling. Yeah. Still just not lucky enough for that Ouroboros Trickster to roll and get 2 boosts instead of 1. That could have made the difference here. Of course, I think in that case, Satan is a baby boomer would have fired off another removal effect instead of just drawing 2 more cards with another Conjuring Seal. But all's well that ends well for them. They're still alive and edging closer.
Yeah, and it's actually just like super crazy to see both magic sails being activated onto the field. And right now, Rift, that if this is like the hostage list that I think it is, then right now, just like a celebration day would be enough for the next upcoming turns. And as we can see, also then after you would be placed down as well. And just like the amount of mana that AQZ have, like 4 mana more in total, makes like so many more like ways to play it out. I mean, with that, we see the Ouroboros Trickster also being able to just like get the 2 boosts out, but I think at this point, it's like, I feel like that AQZ still can easily just like block it out on both sides if runs too. Just like feel like that, but let's see how it will turn out.
Yeah, if I had to guess, there's going to be some big surprises here, or maybe not so surprising. I think that Celebration Day is incredibly likely, but my goodness, you know, I think I've been quoted before, like back into Trial by Frost, for example, saying that I think that Akesha is just a strictly worse Lindaway. These cards from the new set are the exact opposite of that. They work so well for this hero. I'm actually really excited to see it.
And we can see the Beauty Sleep, and that's it. The Twinkle, I'm sorry. No, actually not. The
There's a category, my friend.
I just wanted to hype you up, guys, but this will be a long ass game.
Yeah, we're gonna be here for the full duration, I would assume. Notably, Motuchi, I think, is one of the few players that I've seen playing at a similar pace to this Akesha pilot here. They're known for playing their very slow decks very quickly, meaning that typically it's the opponents that actually run out of time, and thus giving the win to the faster player, especially in this Blitz format. But Orak's playing at a really good pace, and that does help them a little bit here.
Yes, so... It seems like super interesting, but at this point I know that if like the Celebration Day will not get sabotaged, that there's like another one on hand, then basically that's it.
We're here forever, yeah.
Yeah, we're here forever, that's it.
And unfortunately now, though, they have dropped below in time compared to the Akesha pilot, meaning that they can potentially just Celebration Day forever. And I think it's actually kind of likely that they will do exactly that.
Yes. So we can see, yeah, it's like, I mean, what can we do? What can we say? Like, actually, someone believed that we're actually just like doing the 5 minutes. No, guys. Actually, if I'm going back to like to retalk, so I would say, that like in general, is like, I think like the most 2 things that need to start to getting encouraged more is like, first of all, that people actually start to figuring out how like a website that is like going to be used is working, because if like this kick road system would like understandable more, or like you would like to understand how it works, then like the 7 minutes will still be enough, because then you would not like have enough of players that saying like, hey, my opponent is overtime and he's not getting kicked, right? So because 5 minutes is like super fast, and if you're just like taking 1 minute to load up the deck because it's not working at some point, then you only got like 4 minutes left and then 3 minutes, right? So I think it's just like the fact that we need to encourage a little bit more how the website is getting to used, or that people like explain it more, and also on the other hand actually just like, yeah, explain a little bit more. And also encourage people to read the tournament informations and rules and stuff like that. And I think the 7 minutes will be fine. So, so for me personally, as an organizer, I'm not confused that people are getting like problems with that. So I was not confused. I knew it will happen again. And oh, the Hydra is coming out. That's like a cool card. And another Celebration Day, so it doesn't matter at all.
It's such a sweet new tech, though, the ability to both play out the small step giant leap to say, yeah, I will win at the end of the day, and then Celebration day to say, like, yeah, nothing, the rest of this matters. It's like the old small step giant leap. It's so good.
Oh,
Notably, though, both players deserving this loss now that they're both in the negative time, but Satan is a baby boomer does take it with that impressive hostage Kestra style.
Yes, so congrats on that. Definitely not Rune. I would have a new name for the account, but it's up to you if you want to use it. So we actually got like around 3 tables left. So if you want, we can go into we could actually go into table 24 because someone from Altered Ace is still playing Valensna against Roos. Okay, it's finished.
It's over.
So we go to table 29 and it's finished. And we go to round 5, guys. Was just a joke at all, so. Oh. No, we're going to round 5, and
I would love, maybe this is the last round for a more fun table.
Yes.
Could we go to table 34?
34. Oh, tank ready. Is tank ready also just like tank freeloader, or is it like actually tank ready?
No.
Okay.
Tank ready is tank ready.
Okay. I'm just asking.
Yeah, no. This is and I think this is one of your personal favorite people, Paandy, because from what I heard in the chat earlier, this player was defending the format. So yeah, that'll be fun to jump into their game. If you look into our Discord in the general chat, Paandy, there's a good line from him there that Rune was posting earlier.
Discord.
Yeah, I'll forward it to you. Hold on.
Oh yeah, thank you so much.
There you go.
You wrote it to me. Like. I read it out for the stream. It's super funny. So Tank Ready wrote, "How it's not fair, it's the game mode. Like going to a 2v2 game and complaining cause it's not 1v1.
Exactly. And whoa, we have an Atsadi mirror. Is this going to be the battle of the Lernaean Hydras? That is
what's
the question.
that? Whew. This is like super crazy to see. I'm already excited. Actually, it's just like, I feel like that like general Atsati is like also going really better during the third set, right? But I've had
got a lot of help, yeah.
But I feel like still that like the cards that like seems to being assumed for being Atsati, right? Still getting more in favor with like Kojo. At some point, Kojo is always taking the spot. I mean, he should stop that at some point. I'm just like saying he should stop that at some point. But hey, who I am? A Kojo hater. No, just kidding, guys. But we see the Acolano milk is going to be up, and I think how would you explain like this mirror match? Because I'm super unfamiliar with this mirror match right now. How this could lead like potential, and what is like the win conditioner for like an Atsati in the mirror match?
Yeah, I mean, I think it really is going to come down to deck lists, right? Because in general, when we see it Sadi, I think most players at this point are familiar with the Eat Me Energy Bars plus Sakuraburu combo. And I think it sort of depends to what extent the players are focusing on that, because frankly, these early progressions will not matter at all if there's just going to be Eat Me Energy Bars plus Sakuraburu played again and again. At which point, like, relevant progressions will matter, but not these early ones so much. The early ones just set up to get reset a little bit later on. But we'll see. I would imagine in general, I mean, keep in mind, I'm not an Atsadi player, but I imagine in general the most important thing is to get some early ramp going on, try to get a little bit ahead of your opponent in mana, and then you'll just have your better turns will come out slightly before the opponent's.
And already? That's crazy.
Ooh. Nice little Hydra that draws a card.
I think it's also one of the cutest cards, just like because of the third Hydra. Oh, actually, do you know this Hydra meme with like those 3 Hydra faces, and then there's like the super meme face of that? It's feel like that. Just like look at that. I think there was like some inspiration, guys. Some inspirations, though. But actually, it seems like super cool. So again, the Atsati will be able also to just like honoring it up at this point. What did the Atsati play? Was it like the Swift Chin? I didn't saw that.
Yeah, it was a Swiftgen from Tank Ready.
Alright, it was the Swiftgen. Okay.
you also know because they did draw a card and gain a counter on the Atsadi there. So even if you can't scroll down to see the Swiftgen text, that's the sign when that Atsadi hero ticks up to 6 heroism counters and you get an additional mana. It's always the Swiftgen. But yeah, we'll see. I think that's nice for Tank Ready now. They're even on the Tumult. They have that setup Arcolano Milk in play. Of course, there's marginally more card advantage otherwise from Nordic's how do I even say that? Trix Tank, who is playing a Grand Bois. We don't see that one every day.
Yes.
Oh no, I'm sorry, not Grand Bois. That's a Demeter. Oh my goodness,
Yes,
I'm
Demeter.
losing my mind.
Sure,
I saw Grand Bois. I am experiencing technical
what
difficulties.
Is this for a card? I mean, I know what this is. You may pay characters of hand cost 7 or more for 1 less if there are 1 or more characters of hand cost in your reserve. Your reserve limits is increased by 1. I never saw the Scholars Vault in action by an Asadi. I'm super interested of how this will go on.
Yeah, it's a really sweet new one, and it's clearly built for Atsadi as well. Of course, you could play it in a different Bravos hero, but I think just Atsadi in general is the one that most often will have those 7-cost characters.
Yes.
And yeah, it will be nice, give them a little bit of additional value in the late game, but frankly, they're going to need it. They're at such card disadvantage otherwise in comparison to Trix Tank at the moment. Yeah, looking pretty good for Trix Tank, but ooh, the Theseus now, scouted, does draw an additional card and pick itself up. That's cool.
Yes. I mean, it's like super exciting because I'm just like wondering, figuring out. I mean, basically you can play out a character for 5 now as an Atsadi, right? Like the Upper Atsadi Tank Ready, and the Intense Prototype. That's cool. And also traced? Is it traced on the picture? Yeah, it's traced, right? Like with those legs. Traced was originally from Lyra, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay,
no.
No.
I don't know
Sierra
what
or
we're
Traced?
looking at. Sierra's dad was Lyra.
Oh, so
which
it's
is why
Sierra?
we have them on the Merry Reunion.
Alright guys, I've learned something new. It depends if many run and ambition one is the new ambition or comes with a running and sometimes some undoing. Oh yeah, nice. Thank you for answering, competitive noob. So going back into that, we see the Eat Me Energy Bus, alright, and then we can see just like an additional card, and I think the series can just like be played out again, right? If I'm correct? If I'm doing the math correct, he can be played out again, the series? If wants to.
Yeah.
And oh, that's hurting. And put the top card of your deck. Okay. Super cool.
Oh, this is a really nice Sakurabru here, actually. It just being the classic Sakurabru with additional ramp. That's exactly what Atsadi wants from a card like that. Really cool one. Overall, loving the Scholar's Vault plus Theseus game plan. Being able to say it after you really cheaply with that Scout from Hand effect is a really nice way to start off days here for Tank Ready. I don't think Trix Tank is quite online with that sort of game plan yet. What they're doing looks, it's funny to be referring to an Eat Me Energy Bars game plan as being more fair, but it looks a lot more fair.
Yeah. But it's actually one of the cooler uniques of Sakurabru that I'm seeing actually. Because it's just like getting the effect without any condition and also putting the top card of your deck in your mana zone. Also always nice to have when it's an Asadi. So, as you can see right now, the Intense Prototype will be played out again, so...
I like it because
Yes.
It almost sounds like Intense Prototype the way that you say it, and in this case it is pretty intense. Being able to play this out again and again to remove counters from Atsadi on the hero ability, that is such a nice prototype. It's a very intense enhanced prototype.
Yes.
But in general, it's pretty good on stats as well, especially in the region it was played in, that being the water terrain. So that'll help a little bit and give some potential progression chance here. That plus that Lernaean Hydra that we saw earlier, it's pretty big now, and it's gigantic.
Yeah. It's like super good now, being able to double progress at this point. If not, the TCS will be just like played out, so a card will be just like leaving the expedition again. And now it's the Hydra. I mean, at this point, it's like basically not losing cards with played out from the reserve, so... so being resource-wisely, it's like super good. You need to see like the win side. Sometimes you win something, even if you think you lose something, so... But it seems super good right now for tank ready onto this game. So... let's see. I mean, with the Eat Me Energy Bars, it's like one Sacro Brew and then a double expedition will be just like removed back. So there's still like the chance for Nordic Drax Tank to just like take over onto that game. But right now it seems super good for the Azadi at some point. So
for the Azadi, yeah.
It seems super good.
I agree. For the Azadi, it is going super well. But I think the big problem here that I'm seeing for Tank Ready is that they don't have ways to easily remove counters off of their own Azadi. And yeah, there it is. At some point, we will start to see the Sakurabrus come out from Trix Tank. Meaning that, yeah, Tank Ready does have the better setup on the Tumult theoretically, especially for being able to get these advances while there's, well, I was going to say while both players are under 10 mana, but Tank Ready is up to 12 max at this point. But what they're lacking in terms of that presence on the Tumult, they just have inevitability. They're going to be able to draw more cards off of the Atsadi's hero ability, thanks to that unique that removes those counters from the hero. So I do think that potentially Trix Tank will be able to come back in a longer game. They'll just have more access to more things, but Kaibara is a nice one coming down from Tank Ready. It does give them another double progression, but I'm assuming there's going to be more Sakurabrus to come from Trix Tank still. I'm not sweating just yet.
Could be the case. So I mean, it's like, I don't know. I mean, my switcher would be like that we see around 20 big boys on the table. Just like a little showcase of all cards that Azadi being able to play. But beside that, it seems like super, super good. So, I mean, with that, what do you feel? I feel like because both of them having like this Eat Me Energy Bars Sacro Brew kind of play, right? I sometimes feel like that it's depend on who is actually activating it like first or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it feels like that, but I'm not sure. I mean, if you don't draw it around all of those cards, then it's simply just like not doing anything. But
true. But I think the really bad situation here though for Trix Tank is that it turns out they just don't have another Sakurabru right now. They played out that enhanced prototype, ready 2 mana orbs, removed another counter from Atsadi. But this Kaibara, I mean, it looks like it's just going to come down and win the game.
Yes.
Oh, the Achilles. It's a good one. And now with 6 mana left, plus that discount from the Scholar's Vault, what is there? It's just removal. It doesn't even need to discount a character. A good sequence of a unique plus removal spell takes out a relevant character in the Lernaean Hydra, takes out another character in that enhanced prototype, and that's all she wrote. Unfortunately for Trix Tank, Tank Ready just knocks them down, says, yeah, I ramped faster, I ramped harder. You maybe had more cards than me and could do funnier things with removing the hero counters and everything, but no, I played Sky Whales and it worked.
Super cool.
Love seeing Atsadi looking a little bit more competitively viable in the new set as well. So many cool upgrades coming out for, actually, I think I would say a lot of like the bottom heroes in general have gotten some pretty sweet tools.
That's totally cool. It's also just like awesome, but I still feel like it's like a little bit more not like a super shift right now, right? So that like all the top decks are just like going to rock bottom and you never see them again, like for the entire set. It's still like the fact that like in Afanas, also like Sigma players somehow worked out to getting used into the game more, and also like with the new set, right? Also just like still for Tisha at some point, but I feel like Tisha got like a little bit too much short at some point. I feel like personally. Talking about it, like we can still join the table 30. Oh no, we already saw the player. If you want, you can go to table 36, during the time. But I feel like there's like still, if like it comes up to deck like tier list, right? I mean, I don't like tier list in general. Because I feel like you could potentially build up a deck with every faction and can have like quite good success if you want to. But I feel like it's like more fair throughout the decks, or like the archetypes, like with the new one that comes out. So I don't think there's like still like a super S+ tier list like deck, right? It's just like there are like really good decks, and there are like good decks, and there are like decks you shouldn't play. But if you enjoy them, then you can still play them.
It is clear that we are definitely not yet, at least, to the metagame where there's one deck that just slaps down all of the others. I do think there are some decks that will show off more and more that once they're like fully developed in terms of like what the optimal list is, that are just better than other decks. That's pretty normal by everyone's, I would say everyone who's been playing card games like long term. That's metagame. It will work that way. But that's not necessarily a bad thing either, because once there's a top dog that's settled on and that starts picking up in play, a certain deck that's good against it will also get more popular and then start showing up as well, like preying on the players who choose to play that. So all's well that ends well.
Yes. So as you can see, the off-you-go are going to be played out. So we see that the Baba Yaga are just like getting removed. I'm still just like actually start to think. I feel like you can. Okay. I never expect that. What is that? What? I never saw it in play. Actually,
the Kurokami Unbound.
I never saw it in play.
Yeah, it's actually pretty sweet. Looks a lot like a Baku, but just plays a little bit differently. Yeah, pretty interesting one overall. Now, exhausting everything down, but is it enough to take an expedition progression? Yeah. Pasiphae comes down for Tay2 onto the hero side, which, just a 1/1/1 with fleeting for 2. Banishing Gate. All right, that's a good removal. Is the last card in Tay2's hand a character? It is not, so we do have another day. Both players now on pretty low resources, but just a little bit more going in Tay2's favor at the moment, especially because once both players are at very low resources, a Baku, especially the rare Baku, which then, has that effect from when played from reserve as well. Yeah, that's particularly threatening.
Yes. So, actually, as I'm seeing, it's like the sealers right now. Return a spell from a reserve to your hand. That's like cool. So we can see the after Euro coming out. We see the Rhymefrost actually going to be directly into the play. And still I need to think that the Baku is staying up. So we see the Baba Yaga will come up to the companion side. So the Abba Yaga will be able to draw a card. And oh yes, we see the Scribbling Starfish. That's like super cool. That's like
I like that card. It's both adorable and reasonably powerful, I would say.
Yeah.
And especially just having a 1-mana play in general for these late game days is a really nice thing. Being able to after you, especially when you have a mana advantage, is really, really important. So I would guess that at worst for Tay2, we're going to be looking at a trade, but there's going to be a chance that they take both expeditions here. Yeah. This Izmir, Moth Breeder. In my head, it was Moth Baller. That's definitely not it. The Izmir Moth Breeder definitely helps a little bit here. Makes, shores up a little bit in terms of stats, which is good. And it's a little bit hard to remove, which is also good, but I have a feeling, there's just a lot of options here for Tay2 still. And I think if they are choosing to play for that tiebreaker arena, they're going to be in a pretty good position overall because they will just have more access to cards.
So, Oh, I mean, with 5 mana left. Oh yeah, just like. Okay, I was like super confused, but it's all good. It's all good.
Yeah, the Baba Yaga there for Arthur was just enough to be able to take their own progression onto the companion side, which is why we saw that Baku get played out on the hero side. It didn't matter if it had entered the companion side; it wouldn't have been able to advance or block the advance there. So we do have a tiebreaker arena. And, you know, I did say that Tay2 would be working with more resources, but it's actually going to be pretty similar here.
Yes.
The biggest leg up that they do have is their mana advantage, but currently what's in the reserve for Arthur is actually pretty efficient in terms of mana to stats.
It's like true. It's like, I mean, at this point, okay, it decides to mana, but beside the fact it's all could be to be like more mana. And actually the maximum time reached, finally. So, really not many new things. So a 7-minute 30 tournament still could be the same length as a 50-minute tournament.
It's over and Tay2 wins on time despite it being -2 minutes.
Yeah.
That is so brutal.
It's so brutal, but hey, it's all about that, so...
No, I agree. I always wish these games that go to that would just end at a specific point that we know, so that we don't have to sit there sweating like who's gonna win, who's gonna win. Oh, nobody. Like, yeah. But
okay.
I do think we are now in our final round, so I think we're heading up to the top
and
table.
We got actually 4 people undefeated. It would be Sarah Blackstar, This Niku, Marcus, and B-Rod Newfan. Actually, some of the B-Rod teams super nice, so at least we will get 2 winners out of the tournament. Yes.
Do you prefer going to table 2 or table 1, Pandy?
I think table 1 because we didn't saw Marcus and Sarah Blackstar the whole tournament.
Sounds good to me.
I also would love to watch B-Rod, but we saw like the entire team.
Oh, a matchup that we've never ever seen before. It's Sigismar versus Aphanos. Of course, we haven't really seen this matchup much in its new configuration at all. So,
it's really
these decks both being slightly changed, I would say especially Sigismar, actually.
Yes.
But yeah, looking like a pretty reasonable start for the Siggy, taking a 1-0 lead, getting an additional card with that sweet Ozma unique. It's really just like a Baba Yaga, essentially. But yeah, turns out when Baba Yaga is suspended, a unique that's essentially Baba Yaga is pretty good.
Yes. And it's actually really crazy that, like, also the shift how actually the uniques in general were for Siggy used, because back in the guys, it was just like simply token spammer and then something that maybe boosts it. But going into those tri-uniques was already just like a kind of thing when Ozma got suspended or just like re-inverted with like the resupply ability, right? So we're seeing it's going to play again, and the next bureaucrat you play this afternoon cost Runness, and I mean still Sigma is playing a lot of bureaucrats, so I would say we will being able to see like an additional card for the Sigma, just like to take like as a show off. So super interesting.
Yeah. You know, I think that this unique would likely be played by Mugus regardless of that additional effect that it has when played from reserve, making the bureaucrat cheaper, but it is actually pretty good, I would say. There are various bureaucrats that Sigismar does like to play. Cards like Ordis Attorney, for example, discounting that down to 1 mana, for example, is a really nice thing. And there's a lot of other bureaucrats that sometimes slot into the strategy as well, and here is one of them. Monolith Legate comes down now and says, you know what, I'm not going to win an expedition, but what I will do is I will tax your resources.
And this is like super duper. I mean, with the Bumblebee, I think also Bumblebee, one of the newer cards that's fitting super well into Sigismar, right? Just like with the fact of playing it out at 1 cost, then you're just like waiting up 2 characters that join in, then being able to play it out from the reserve, if it's like not getting sabotaged, right? But then being able to getting like an anchored character like that is like a super cool card that coming into that. And
I mean, we used to see sometimes that Sigismar would play the Sandman and end up sleeping their own characters sometimes, and to, you know, to provide an additional threat that stays around, not just that token that you get at noon as Sigismar always. Having something then on the companion side lasting around as well can be really, really strong. And Bumblebeat does exactly that. Maybe it's not the Sandman in terms of flexibility of being a pseudo removal effect on your opponent's stuff, but what it does do, it does pretty well. It's good stats, they're flat stats as well, so you don't randomly lose to having a slightly lower stat on any of the three, which is nice. And having, yeah, Anchored, it's a pretty big deal.
So we see the Monolith Gate will coming out to the Hero Expedition, and we see the first boost will coming out. Actually, also the second boost will come out to the Bumblebeat. And additionally to that, we will see an additional magical training, just like for the Afanas. And so with that right now, it's just like the considering that the Bumblebeat could be played out potentially. But then there's also still like the chance of an off you go that directly could hit. But we see the Order Spine. I think a magical training is like a really good target for that.
Yeah, I mean, magical training in general, one of these amazing card advantage pieces for Afanas, so not surprising seeing that being the sort of thing that that goes away. But yeah, Studious Disciple now takes an expedition progression with pretty impressive stats actually on the hero side. Evanescence as a removal spell is a pretty sweet new one as well. Maybe tell us a little bit more about it.
Again, please.
Evanescence, the new removal spell from the Afanas here.
The removal spell of the Afanas, the Evanescence. I mean,
yeah.
In general, it's like a really cool spell at some point, because it's just like another common removal that you can play out, and it's just like an easy way because you have like many targets at the cost of 2 or less, right? And I think it's just like an, I don't know, I don't want to say it's just like a different off-you-go basically that you're playing. But you can stack it up like to the moment. I think the only issue that I have with like this spell in general is like that at some point you don't like have to kick out that many 2-cost cards, right? So I think if you had like the ability to actually still have those counters at some point on this card, even if you're returning it back to the hand, then it would be like a super cool skill. But beside that, it's just like an additional early, it's like an early removal that you get. But I think it's like not that super duper worth, but it's like still cool to play. So
I mean, I think what you're sort of getting at is the fact that you only get that sort of bonus effect of it where it hits something larger when you're playing it from reserve after you've already played other spells. At which point it ends up being really similar to Off You Go, where you just don't really want to be spending 4 mana typically for a removal effect.
Yes.
And at which point the Off You Go is often just a little bit better or a little bit more flexible. But I really think this is probably just like the 4th or maybe 5th, 6th copies of Off You Go in a deck. And Off You Go is a pretty absurd removal spell, so not at all surprised to see this one coming out. Another one as well that's new is the rare Sap Infusion going on to that Katagirian Mage Dancer. Of course, Katagirian Mage Dancer, the perennial threat from any Afanas deck, just gets so crazy high stats so quickly. This being the rare version means it will draw a card for them at dusk, which is a pretty big deal because they did actually have to cash in on a ton of cards for that day.
Yeah. And it's actually just like crazy with that, the Mage Dancer being super available with the Sap Infusion, right? Because it's just like a super cheap way, also just like for a beginning turn to boost up the Mage Dancer, getting more abilities out of that. As you can see right now, also the Sigisma still could be potentially being in the chance because the Silas is being down into the reserve, so it could come out as a really strong card, and beside a Banishing Gate, it would be really hard to just like remove the Silas at this point. We see that the Katagirian Mage Dancer will be played out again from the reserve, and to conclusion to that, the Artist Attorney will going to be out. I'm still thinking of like that maybe there will be like a teamwork training for the Sigisma still in hand, and I think the Sigisma will just start waiting out until like the maximum of boost will reached of that, because it's like a super easy removal right now with the teamwork training. Because other were not working off. So we see the Bumblebeat coming into the play. I mean, we still see the Evanescence could be potentially being played out from the reserve, but then the cost issue would be a problem. But I think with the Spindle Harvester, I would say we see an additional, we see like another Off You Go. I would say we see an off you go, and here it is, the teamwork training. All right.
Yeah, it was really important what you were mentioning there, though, about like waiting to use that teamwork training until the last possible moment, because really when you're using like critical removal options like that, it's so important that you try to induce as much like I wouldn't say poor play, but things that won't work out in the favor of the Afanas before you end up firing off that effect. You only get to use it once, right?
Yeah.
And of course, if you know it's going to go after that Katagirian Mage Dancer anyway, it is tempting to just do it immediately before it could say like lose fleeting. But there is no helping hand anymore. The Katagirian Mage Dancer isn't going to lose fleeting. So in that case, you're much more incentivized to wait until as many boosts as possible have been placed on it instead of something else, and then remove it. So it's a good heads up play. But overall, the day still ends up going with yet another 1-for-1 trade.
Yeah.
A unique was played out here by the Afanas in this Muna Caregiver, which did pick up a spell, which is nice, but still they're very low on resources, and one progression behind the Sigismar on the Tumult. I would say that's actually not super surprising for the Afanas versus Sigismar matchup.
Yeah.
The Afanas is typically playing a little bit from behind in that matchup, so yeah, this is pretty par for the course, I would say. But I think things are just looking a little bit better for Sigismar at the moment. It's just they weren't able to get a lot of value out of cards like this Orda's Attorney. Of course, it got progressions, but wasn't drawing cards or anything.
Yeah, that's like totally true to that. So we see the Orda's Attorney will be played out again. I mean, it's still like the reason to just like a small pass by. I mean, we still have the Siddhis in the reserve, but I feel like that actually it's like super hard to play it out. We see the return again from one of those spells. I mean, now it could be potentially a reason, and we see actually the teamwork training coming up. And it is the Muna Caregiver actually that's getting discarded in that way. Oh yeah, it's actually also got the resupply, and another magical training
is so
like
good.
Super pass by always, and I would say like the rare version, like one of the best cards for me to get the activate. But we see the Zillas, and I would say with that, beside the Banishing Gate, it would be super hard to remove the card. I mean, are there like still chances for the Afanas to block it? I don't think so, but it's like the magic training, yes?
With the magical training, essentially they're saying that, yeah, they're going to guarantee in on the side again. They're going to stack cards so that they will have the best ability possible to try to compete and contest both sides this upcoming day. But realistically, I think what Afanas really needed there was to find something like another Spindle Harvesters, for example, that they could give Anchored to so that they would keep something around for the next day. But they weren't able to find that, and for that reason, I think Sigismar is in a really good spot here. Of course, they're largely at the mercy of whatever cards they drew off the top of their deck, but especially because they're using a good mixture of characters, removal effects, and they have that Sigismar hero ability, which gives just a flat 1/1/1 character at noon. It's going to be a really tough ask, I think, for Afanas to contest both sides here when they're going to be so vulnerable to removal.
Yes. It's super true. So we can see that the Spindle Harvester will be played out again. Also again, like a super easy pass by for that. And we see the next Orda's Attorney will be just like placed down on the companion side. I mean, with like the super amount of resources, and again, just like the Studio Disciple, we still know that like the Effersense is being there on the hand for the Afanas, so either the Orda's Attorney or like the Orda's Recruit could easily getting removed at this point, and also just like putting up an additional boost. We see the Sandman actually coming out to play, and I'm super interested which card actually going to sleep, and it's the Spindle Harvester. Alright, so with that, it seems like a little bit more harder right now for the Afanas. I mean, still I got 6 mana left, so it could be like 2 discard spells at some point, just like remove spells, maybe. But it's like super hard. It's like, oh yeah, the off you go already the off you go. Okay.
Yeah, interesting. Having to use the off you go then on the Sandman means that the Sigismar will just have another play here.
Yes.
And it is the Sandman again from reserve, so there won't be any teamwork training or tiny jail or any other removal effect here. But I think it's, there's a pretty good chance that the damage has already been done. Just the fact that Sandman came down the first time and was able to sleep that anchored Spindle Harvester, is already such a big deal. There needs to be characters. Yeah, there's a Moth to a Flame here, but they need stuff that for 1 mana will shore up both sides where they're currently behind. Could Sap Infusion do it?
It could potentially do it. But not with that. But
wait, no, I think Sap Infusion could still... No. Joyride. Joyride can do it. Yeah. Sap Infusion comes down.
Sap Infusion would be do the additional boost and then getting in a boost again.
No, they're just 1 boost short.
It's just like not enough.
Wow, really, really close there. The Aegis Templar, so clutch for 1 mana, that scout effect there. Such a big deal being able to weave that into the rest of the play patterns of that turn. We're really well done. Really, really close game. I think that would have heavily favored Afanis had they been able to survive that day, but unable to do so. Mugus takes it and is undefeated in, what is this, week 2 of AQZ Blitz?
It's the
yeah, there we are.
Right. And we still got plenty of games up, and is the table 2 is actually playing. We can fast jump in and see how this goes on. And as we can see, this Liiike is still being able to playing with Muna, so Muna on the top tier is super cool. And we see actually an Afanis, so Afanis would be able, maybe now? I mean, Newfriend also being in the overtime, we see the Off You Go is coming down, but will it be enough? I mean,
no, Afanis is cooked.
The Studio Disciple could potentially just like remove an additional character. It's just like one Off You Go. Just like one
no, it's true. Off You Go works.
And syntax error again.
Yep, same.
Oh, okay.
Joyride.
You know what I have like for a feeling? Because the tournament is almost getting the same length that 15 minutes tournaments, even if it's like way shorter. I think it's a bug. At some point, that's why the syntax error is showing up. I think it's actually just like a bug. And we see the Beauty Sleep coming up. Alright, so another turn for our Afanis right here. But it still seems like super, super hard.
It seems super, super hard, but I sort of believe in the Afanis here. It's definitely possible. Just there being this 1 cuddly corgi that will be remaining in play means that, yeah, there will be the chance of having to deal with probably, 2 more aloe veras coming down, either of which could potentially take the game. But aloe veras are not going to be on their best expeditions when played by this Tasia. We know that there is a removal effect that the Afanis has access to in their reserve, which is that Beauty Sleep. If they have a way to pick it up, they'll be able to efficiently replay this sort of thing. Otherwise, I have a feeling that there's a lot of cards in Afanis' deck that could do a pretty good job of stabilizing.
Yes.
And this is definitely one of them.
And we're seeing the Mage Dancer will become to play out. I mean, with that, the aloe vera could be potentially played out double, and then actually the Cuddle Corgi getting a boost after boost, and you can fully focusing like still on one side, and the Beauty Sleep wouldn't be enough. So let's see how this
Beauty Sleep on its own will definitely not be enough here, but you have to assume there's another spell at this point in the hand. So I think if this is just double aloe vera, it's going to be pretty good for Afanis, I have a feeling. But we'll see if there is like a removal effect. Oh, a unique. What does this one do?
And the unique is during when a character you control gets one or more boost. Oh. Wait.
This is the most absurd...
This is a 1/1 cast? Are you kidding me? It's a 1/1 cast? I never saw it before. I never saw it. I'm not joking.
A 1/1 mass anchoring that can self-anchor when played from reserve. Okay.
Nico, where did you find those cards? Because this is like... I never saw this card before. Is this like the first time showcasing it?
Yeah.
I think someone of the logos got ripped off. Someone from the logos got ripped off.
Tunas does say the Neko Shroom in the chat, so presumably this is a known quantity at this point. Yeah. That's pretty absurd, though, gotta say. Of course, I think you already know, Paandy. I'm a big believer in the ban all set 1 uniques camp. But,
I know it.
but there's some pretty cool ones out there, and when you see them, they can be pretty exciting. But in this case, it doesn't actually do much on the Tumult this day. It does anchor yet another thing, but there should be enough here for the Aphanis to stabilize, I assume.
Yes. But I mean, isn't it just like another beauty sleep, and this would be enough?
No, it needs to be beauty sleep plus one more spell.
Okay. But couldn't you just like put the Alorero to sleep and boosting it? Or
yeah, as in that's exactly what happens here. They have to sleep the Cuddly Corgi still on that
Yeah.
hero side, and then they're in need of something else, and they
it's not
don't have
enough.
it.
They don't have
Barely
it.
being taken down by a single missing forest stat. Brutal.
Yes.
And
This is
yeah,
brutal.
just enough for this Neko, our second undefeated player
Congrats
in
on
week
that.
2. Wow, that was a really impressive finish overall, but nice showing by Newfound from Team BWAT there. Good
Super
effort
cool.
and impressive.
And with that, it's not over yet. I think we need to start to write some things to BGA, because this is like ridiculous. So I think it's a bug. I actually believe it's a bug. And because how can a tournament being half the time for each player and still being almost the same amount of time than a usual tournament that's running? So
Well, it's not, right? It's just been 2 hours, right?
2
And
hours, and
6...
the usual is like 3 hours, right? Or like 2.5
Well,
hours.
yeah, marginally more.
yeah.
It's because the difference in...
Okay.
I could explain. The difference in time when you already have the same effect that kicks out players as in the longer time limit tournament, that percentage-wise, it takes up a lot more of the tournament's time, the lower the time limit is per player, because that doesn't change. Like, unfortunately, the way it works doesn't say, all right, because we have for a 15-minute tournament, if there's going to be or a tournament with 15 minutes per player, that we're going to have 5 minutes after which that it kicks players out, something like that. In this case, it's still the 5 minutes, and it doesn't care that it's 7.5 minutes per player. So it just percentage wise, the other BGA stuff just takes up more of the time. But overall, I mean, only taking half an hour more than I guess what the ideal would be. But yeah, pretty good overall.
I mean, it's still like, yeah, because Renato mentioned it with the AQZ is 5 rounds. I think, yeah, if we would like compared to AQZ, it's like not that even shorter. I was figuring out, I mean, still like 5 rounds for an evening is like super fair, like in any consistency. And it's also just like the fact that it's like working out with the final system that like a player who win all matches getting qualified instead of like a weird like top 8 or top 16 would be weird like in that case, right? Because it would be like at some point super randomized how this will work out. But what is actually not randomized is like the results that we're getting right now, because the tournament came to an end. So thank you so much for everyone watching it and also playing it. If you joined in a little bit too late and you want to feel like, okay, how can I getting a recap? Just heading out to my YouTube channel, subscribe it, and there would be always like a recap for the AQZ tournament series that I'm hosting in. So it will be the Blitz as well as the AQZ Championship series. And Keelan, I would be super excited if you read out everyone who's being undefeated and actually finish the tournament with only 1 lose.
Absolutely. Our 2 winners of the event undefeated. We have this Neko playing that Tasia that we saw before. Super sweet uniques and just super good play overall. And then we also had Mugus, that Sigismar player that we also saw take down an Aphanis in that final round. Huge congrats to you 6-0 winners. That's a really nice finish. And then otherwise, the rest of our top 13 then we have at X and 1 or better. So 3rd place we have AEG's Sire Blackstar, 4th place BWAT's Newfon, 5th AEG's Cyrilu, then we have Nadi, Acraft 17, Neffy's Altered Aces Tempête de la Neige, Nitract, HAT's Musiwallace, and BWAT's Exominate, and then the last X and 1 player, Harthor 44.
Okay, that's like super crazy. So Russ is super nice tournament. I think it's like a super cool succeed that like actually alternate format getting 123 players already on week 2. That's like super incredible. So thank you so much guys for joining in, and I hope you will also have have super fun for the next upcoming weeks. So on this YouTube channel, as I said again, if you want to have like a short explanation of how like this timing, kick road and stuff like that out, I will also explain it in the YouTube video, because otherwise it's like super hard to explain it like through chatting, because actually I think like 2 pictures would help it out to make it more clear. So check out the video and also send it to other people that still like have questions. So yes, beside that, hey Keelan, thank you so much for joining in this spontaneously. It was super
Yeah,
excited
happy to randomly
watch.
do so. Finished dinner and was like, okay.
Okay, that's like super amazing. So yeah guys, what else can I say? So head out to all the other tournaments. Tomorrow will be the NUC, and through the cooperation with Altered Aces, and also for being here in the Turbo Tuesday, also check out the super fast tournament. It's like American based time zone, but it's like around in 3 hours, so do a short sleep. Then wake up.
No. It's not with Altered Aces. It's with Altered Corner.
Altered Corner. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Ace.
I'm so lucky that Cole is not listening. So Altered Corner has a new thing.
Yeah, and that'll be starting. That's season 4 of Ace, and that'll be starting in just under 3 hours. So yeah, hang out and play in that if you happen to be around in that time zone.
Yes, so with that, the next time that we will see us on this channel, as well with will you join on Thursday? Is it? It's like a thing?
Yeah, I should be here.
Okay, amazing. So we see us on Thursday, guys, with the AQZ Championship Series as well. So check out the VOD if you missed something. Check out the YouTube channel. And with that, I have nothing else to add. Then have a nice evening and also a great start for tomorrow. And yeah, so see you on Thursday. Bye bye.
Bye everyone.
I need to stop.